Nate Bargatze, the Be Funny Tour.
I mean, Chuck E. Cheese is rough. I don't know if you've been there in a while. They look like they're trying to go to business and they can't.
All new material.
They filed for bankruptcy and they're still open. They called Blockbuster and they're like, how do you get out? We want out.
Nate Bargatze.
Friday, May 31st, FedEx Forum. Tickets available at FedEx Forum box office or Ticketmaster.com. Produced by Outback Presents.
Nate Bargatze, the Be Funny Tour.
This week, we're looking at our favorite black sitcoms. Mike, what do you got on your list?
It starts off with A Different World,
Okay.
the show that we're talking about.
I don't know. When's the last time you watched A Different World? Find it, watch it with the family. It is a phenomenal show, still to this day. Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
Maxwell in concert. The Serenade Tour. October 16th at FedEx Forum. Maxwell. With special guest Jasmine Sullivan. And October London. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Don't miss Maxwell Live.
Now for a limited time, the new $1.99 crispy tender wraps are here at Sonic. Who could deny a crispy chicken tender with bold flavors like hickory barbecue and cheesy Baja? And we can't forget the crisp lettuce and melty cheese to make the perfect bite. Wrap yourself up with some TLC, tender, love, and chicken for only $1.99. Sonic $1.99 crispy tender wraps. Tax not included, limited time only at participating Sonic drive-ins.
Live from the Built Ford Tough Studio at FedEx Forum, it's the Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Now, here's your host, Gary Parrish.
All right. I'm here. My name is Gary Parrish. I'm speaking here for the Built Ford Tough Studio, FedEx Forum, downtown Memphis. Bennett Doyle right there producing the program. Glad he's with me. Glad you're with me. Hope you're getting through the day best you can. And I hope you didn't give up on Bennett's Oklahoma City Thunder last night when they went down by 14 points. And even trailed by as many as 8 in the fourth quarter. Because you know what happened in those final 12 minutes? Big Bet Bennett? Shea Gilgeous-Alexander happened. Oklahoma City comes back, ties that series 2-2. Bennett's a winner. OKC's a winner. It was a good Monday night. We'll talk about it momentarily. First, though, quickly, let me set today's schedule for you. Chris Vernon is the host of the Chris Vernon Show, weekdays noon. Grind City Media also hosts the Mismatch podcast on The Ringer, where he talks about the NBA. So lucky to have him on Tuesdays in the middle of the NBA playoffs. He'll be here in about 20 minutes. I'll talk NBA with Chris Vernon. When I finish doing that, take a break, come back, do 5 more things you need to know, at which point we're going to discuss 5 previously undiscussed stories. Among them, the SEC has announced that John Calipari will return to Rupp Arena next season as the coach of the Arkansas Razorbacks. How will he be received? We'll discuss that in about 40 minutes. Kirk Cousins has spoken for the first time publicly about the Falcons using a first-round pick on a quarterback after signing him to a huge contract. I'll give you the quotes. Do that a little later on in the show. As promised, Jerry Seinfeld did call Howard Stern and apologize for what he said. It was nice, isn't it? Isn't it?
Very nice.
If I ever say something really bad about you on a different podcast, I'll call you and apologize.
Okay,
Bennett.
good.
I mean, I'll just text you probably. I'll probably just text you. But you get the point. I thought it was nice. I'll tell you what Howard said, Jerry said. We'll do that in the third segment. Monday Night Football season opener is set. Aaron Rodgers is involved. I'll tell you which team Jet's going to be facing. We'll do that in just a bit. And Caitlin Clark will make her WNBA regular season debut tonight. I might make Bennett pick WNBA game tonight.
Oh!
I might make you pick a WNBA game tonight. I might make you.
I'm not ready.
We'll talk about Caitlin Clark, Indiana Fever. We'll do that during a segment. We can call 5 more things you need to know. Then we'll eventually do GP's carryout and call it a day. So that's the rundown. We got a lot to get to. But I did want to start with the 2024 NBA playoffs because we are now, I don't know if you're keeping track.
I wasn't.
I'm keeping track.
Okay.
Buddy. And we took off yesterday from this, so I had to get back in my calendar.
I was wondering. Something felt off.
It was off. The whole thing was off. I tried to mix it up a little bit. It didn't feel right, you know? Sometimes you just need to stick to what you know, right? So I had to get back in my calendar last night, start counting. 1, 2, 3. We're now 24 full days into the 2024 NBA playoffs after last night's doubleheader.
Feels like it was just
It does, doesn't it? But it wasn't.
Like
it was so many yesterdays ago.
Yep.
It was so many yesterdays ago. We had a doubleheader last night.
Yep.
We tied one series and more or less, I think, ended the other.
Okay.
So let's start with the other.
Yeah. Let's get that out of the way.
Let's get this out of the way. Final score, Celtics 109, Cavaliers 102. Jason Tatum got 33 points in 44 minutes. But the story in Cleveland was who didn't play. No Donovan Mitchell because of a calf strain. No Jared Allen because of a rib contusion. So the Cavs were without 2 of their top 3 scorers from the regular season. To put this in like Memphis Grizzlies terms, it would be like if the Grizz were trying to play the Celtics right now without John Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr.
Right.
Like, good luck, you know? Impressive that the Cavs were able to keep this to single digits. You know, they covered the number, but they're now down 3-1, headed to Boston, presumably still with injury issues. I just went and checked the series price this morning at FanDuel. What do you think it is right now? The Boston Celtics to advance to the Eastern Conference Finals. What would you have to lay? To win $100, what would you have to lay?
Oh, probably. I bet you'd have to lay 1,000.
It's minus 100,000.
Oh my God.
I don't think I've ever even seen that before.
Dude, and the thing is, like we talked about it the other night, or the other day, you know, Boston lost that game. I think it was game 2 they lost, and it was like, they're not going to lose the series. Like, don't worry about it. But this is going to bite them if they keep playing around like this in these series when they're clearly better than the other team. And I think it will bite them come like NBA Finals. But I agree with that number. I think they're getting out of the East easily.
I mean, that's the whole thing. Is that it's not just that they're going to get out of this with no problem. They're going to get out of everything with no problem. Like the next game is Wednesday night. Boston opened as a 15.5-point favorite. So barring a massive surprise, this should be a wrap. And it really might be what some have suggested, which is the Celtics are in the middle of what really might be the easiest path to the NBA Finals in the history of basketball. I'm not a historian, so I can't speak to that. But in round 1, you get the Heat with no Jimmy Butler. In round 2, you get the Cavs with no Jared Allen, no Donovan Mitchell. And then in the Eastern Conference Finals, once they get there, they're either going to get a Knicks team that is currently missing Julius Randle, OG Anunoby, Mitchell Robinson, Bogdanovich, or, and this is more likely at this point, the Pacers are now favored to win this series, even though the Knicks have home court advantage because the Knicks have no players. So if they don't get the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals, the Celtics, they'll get the Pacers, and the Pacers finish 17 games behind them in the Eastern Conference standing. So barring a surprise, Boston's not going to be challenged until the NBA Finals.
It doesn't seem like it. I think, like, man, and I want the Knicks so bad to be able to win that. I wanted to see Knicks Celtics. We all do, but I just think they're so banged up. Like at this
Vernon
point.
Actually on his Mismatch podcast had a stat about OG Anunoby. I'll let him share it with you, but the record is overwhelming with him and without him. Like below 500 in games he has not played in, and like 26-5, something like that in games he has played in. Like that, all of this stuff has a cumulative effect. When you already have a short rotation, like every guy you lose matters, but you lose this dude. This is like, I mean, I guess you'd rather not lose Jalen Brunson, but anybody else on the roster, you'd want OG, I think.
It actually makes a lot of sense, too, because we talked about him a lot as Grizzlies fans because he was a guy that it was kind of thought of, man, the Grizzlies should make a move for this guy. This is the guy that could be your starting small forward, lock him in.
Yeah, I think that still might be true.
Yeah, that still might be true.
I mean, they're not going to do it now, but you could, like, yeah, like he's that guy.
For sure. And the thing is it was like, you look at his box score and you're like, man, are you really want to give up 3 first-round picks for this dude? Like, he's not just like – you look at his numbers, they're not that incredible.
He impacts winning. He changes your team.
That's it.
He impacts winning. He changes your team. Now they don't have him. So, it's just like Knicks Pacers is still interesting, but it almost feels like we already know what happens next. Like, congratulations, whoever wins this series, you're going to the Eastern Conference Finals. But once you get to the Eastern Conference Finals, you're probably going to get smacked around a little bit by Jason Tatum and and Jaylen Brown.
Yep.
Now, they might, let you win a game or two because they tend to, take their foot off the pedal every once in a while.
Right.
But it's just hard to imagine right now the Celtics not getting to the NBA Finals, given that they were the best team in the East all season long, and the only competition they have left is either the Pacers or two completely banged-up teams. So, boring. But you know how boring it was? It was so boring that the biggest story in Cleveland last night wasn't even a basketball game. You know what it was? Who was sitting courtside? King.
The King returns.
What's the King doing? What's the King up
He put
to?
his crown on.
King in
He
Savannah?
put his crown on. They cheer for him. He goes, yeah.
The King in Savannah courtside with Rich Paul at a Cavs playoff game. What does it mean? What is he doing?
Oh.
What message is he sending? Is he even sending a message? Of course he's sending a message.
Well, I know what Vernon's going to say.
What's Vernon going to say?
And I think I probably agree a little bit. LeBron likes, when playoffs roll around and he's not in it anymore, he likes still being a part of the story. He enjoys being a part of the story when the playoffs are going on.
And he ain't usually out of them this quickly.
He's not usually out of this quickly. So, yeah, I don't make anything of that other than you go sit front row at the Cavs game and it gets people talking. That's all I make of it.
But how often? Because I don't think it might not mean all of these things some people are suggesting it means, but we can all agree, just because it's a fact, it is unusual to see an NBA star sitting courtside at an NBA game that he is not playing in.
Well, Tyrese Maxey was front row of the Mavs Thunder game.
Okay, so name as many of these examples as you can.
Right.
And then I'm going to say that's good, but it's also unusual.
I'm defending my king.
I understand. I appreciate that because God knows we're going to have to. God knows.
I'm just setting this up.
Yeah, we probably we need to work together on this because we're going to have a king hater joining us here in about 10 minutes.
Yep.
So we got to work together on this. I saw Brian Windhorst on TV early this morning, and he's the expert for 2 decades plus on LeBron James. And he said, listen, LeBron knows what he's doing. We can discuss and debate what it is he's actually trying to do, but he knows he's doing something when he shows up like this, making a grand entrance. Like he didn't walk in 7 minutes before the game or right in the middle of the game. He came in the first time out.
With a bottle of wine.
To make an entrance, to make it. The king is here.
Yep.
The king is here. And he's got his beautiful wife there. So it's a scene. Some of the theories out there, and who knows? I'm not going to pretend to know. But it's just reminding the Lakers, hey, remember when I did that interview with the Knicks towel over my shoulder? Kind of looked good in that blue and orange. I bet they'd love me in the Big Apple. And now I'm sitting courtside in Cleveland.
Yeah.
I've played here twice before.
Yeah. And they love me.
Do you realize the last time he was in Cleveland for a game, this is what Brian Windhorst said this morning, the last time LeBron was in Cleveland for a game that he wasn't playing in, he attended a Cavs game, but he's not playing in it?
Yeah, it was Ilgauskas' retirement ceremony. Yeah,
and
2014, right?
And you know what happened shortly after that? He signed with the Cleveland Cavaliers.
That's right.
So the Lakers know all of this stuff, and Windhorst's bottom line on the whole deal was basically LeBron is probably just very deliberately reminding the Lakers that he's not just sitting in L.A., waiting to see what you guys do. They can, on draft night, trade 3 first-round picks. And they did nothing at the trade deadline, and reportedly that bothered LeBron James. So Windhorst thinks LeBron's going to opt out of the contract no matter what, and the Lakers will give him whatever contract he wants. But the ball is in LeBron's court, so to speak, and this is being interpreted more than anything else as just a reminder to the Lakers, you need to make sure you are putting me in the best position possible to compete for championships, or I could just walk away from this whole thing. They seem to still love me in Cleveland. I bet they'd love me in New York. And here's the interesting thing. With some of these potential free agents, you can look at them and call their bluff. Okay, but you're not really going to walk away from all the money we can give you. You're not going to be able to get all this money from somebody else. So, but with LeBron, he's a billionaire.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter.
I don't want to say it doesn't matter because, every billionaire will tell you, everything matters. But I've made this point before, and I don't pocket watch it. I don't try to speak for billionaire athletes or anybody else. But I can sort of project, imagine what I would do if I were in that position. And if I were having this conversation with LeBron James, I would say, what would mean more to you over the next year? Actually competing for and winning a championship, surrounded by people who can better help you do that, or making another $60 million. $60 million will change your life.
Yep.
It would change mine. It won't change his. But you know what would change his? Being happy playing basketball, competing for championships. Like, what's more important to you? The comeback to that might just be, that's all cute, but I'm not taking $5 million to play basketball or $10 million to play basketball when somebody's willing to give me 60. So, like, nice right. theory, but I'm not playing along like that. We'll see. But certainly he created big headlines and a big conversation last night by showing up in Cleveland. Coming out of that, he was the thing everybody was talking about on TV this morning, not really the Cavs and the Celtics. So, again, Knicks Pacers still interesting, but Boston almost certainly going to win the East. That's more clear today than it's ever been, which means we got to look to the West to keep us interested in the coming weeks. And on that note, I should tell you that we got 2 series in the Western Conference, and they're now both tied. Timberwolves Nuggets 2-2 heading into tonight's Game 5, and Thunder Mavericks now also 2-2 after last night's Game 4 that saw the Thunder outscore Dallas 35-27 in the fourth. They won the game 196. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he's a Skims model. You know,
he is
on the side. Took 27 shots. He made 15 of them. Finished with 34 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals. He's the main reason OKC was able to pull out of that 14-point deficit at home, but not the only. Or on the road rather, but not the only reason. Chet Holmgren got 18 points, 9 rebounds, 4 blocks in 40 minutes. Do you remember? Are you old enough to remember when people were saying Chet Holmgren might be too skinny to be good in the NBA?
Yeah,
isn't that funny?
And I was one of those people. Ooh. I try
to tell you.
I know.
Sometimes when you talk to people, they can crystallize things for you, make you see something you maybe didn't see before.
Yep.
I love it when that happens. I had this moment with an NBA person in the draft process before Chet was picked. Because people kept talking about, God, he's so skinny. My God, he's so skinny. My God, he's going to get pushed around and thrown around, maybe killed in the NBA. And I had an NBA person say this to me. He said, GP, let me ask you a question. He said, who's the last basketball player you remember not being great because they were skinny? Like, don't point out skinny, sucky players, because those just exist. Just like skinny, just like players with great bodies sometimes suck. Just somebody who you look at in the NBA and you go, my God, that guy would be amazing, but he's just so skinny. He's like, it doesn't really exist. That's not really a thing. So, yeah, we'd like for him to be a bodybuilder, I guess, but Chet Holmgren will either be great or not great based on a number of things, but being too skinny is not going to be one of those things. And as a rookie, because he missed his whole first season.
That's right.
As a rookie this year, he started 82 games, averaged 16.5 points, 7.9 rebounds, 2.3 blocks, and he just got 18 and 9 with 4 blocks in Game 4 of the Western Conference semifinals. People said he was too skinny to be great and that OKC is too young to win on this stage. And right now, neither appears to be true. Oklahoma City is now minus 158 to eliminate the Mavericks and go to the Western Conference Finals. In part, baked into that price is the reality that Luka Doncic is obviously hurt. Another rough game for him last night. Took 20 shots, missed 14 of them.
Yeah.
He had 6 makes in the game, only 6, 7 turnovers. You know, we said all along, I think most people said all along, if the Mavericks are going to beat Oklahoma City, like Luka Doncic has to be great. And in the series, he hasn't been great. 39% from the field, 31% from 3, 22 points per game. In the regular season, he was 48.7% from the field, 38.2% from 3, 33.9 points per game. Again, in the series, field goal percentage, significantly down. 3-point percentage, significantly down. Points per game, significantly down. That's not how you win a series, Bennett.
No, and he's not doing himself any favors. Like, I heard Vernon talking about this the other day. I heard JB talking about this morning, and it's so true. Like, I still stand on, I think he's the best player in the league. Mm-hmm. I think if he, how do I want to say this? If he would just quit whining so much, I think that it would help him immensely.
Just shut up.
Because the refs hate him,
right?
Like, they do. Like,
now, like fans, I don't hate him, but like fans are like, man, stop.
Yes,
like
it's so obvious now, and I know that like I was like paying more attention last night because they had pointed it out, but I'm just looking at it last night, and I'm like, God, it really is every freaking possession he won. And listen, a lot of NBA players whine. That's part of it, is trying to manipulate the refs. Like, that's a big part of NBA basketball with superstars, but it's every possession with him.
Yeah, like there's nothing more frustrating than somebody just relentlessly whining.
Yeah.
And I'm sure basketball game's one thing, like your day-to-day life is another, but this happened just yesterday in my own home. I got a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old, and they love each other, and they play, and they're best friends in so many ways, but they also drive each other crazy, and they intentionally aggravate each other. And the 10-year-old is stronger than the 7-year-old because he's 3 years older. And so, like yesterday, they will not stop messing with each other. Everything is just messing with each other. And it gets to a point where the 7-year-old is just he's anticipating the next bad thing the 10-year-old is going to do and already whining about it. And it's like, Oliver's doing this and Oliver's doing that. And I said, listen, when he does something that crosses a line, I'll handle that. But like right now, you're just whining. You're just whining about every little thing he does. You reminded me of Luka Doncic. You reminded me of Luka. I called it Louis Doncic. That's what I called him yesterday. Louis Doncic.
Damn.
So I know what it's like. I know
Yeah,
what it's like to
me
be an
too.
NBA official. I know what it's like. I did it at my own house yesterday. I'm walking around and I got some dude just whining, just for no real reason. Everything's fine. Stop.
Maybe that's why it's annoying me more too. I'm dealing with it too.
You're dealing with it?
Oh, yeah.
Like, man, when something's really...
Stop whining, please.
Buddy, when something's really wrong, I'll hold you so tight. You ain't got to worry about nothing.
Yep.
But the things you're complaining about right now are not things you should be complaining about right now. Plus, I'm tired of hearing it. Stop whining. Luka Doncic, exactly like a 7-year-old, just more talented and taller.
I think that's true.
I think that's true. See what Vernon thinks next.
I moved, I have a house now, house maintenance.
That's true.
Oh, Homeowners Association.
Association.
That was what your mom wanted to talk to me about. She was so proud that not only are you on the Homeowner Association, that you go to the meetings and you know every issue.
We've had speed bump problems.
The Chris Vernon Show, presented by Caesars Sportsbook, live weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Grizzlies fans know it's the team that gives you the edge. Big River Steel does too. And much like the Grizzlies have recruited legendary talent, we want you to be part of our team. Are you ready to be part of something legendary? Then visit www.bigriversteel.com. That's www.bigriversteel.com.
I will take High School Musical with my fifth and final pick because it is a sports movie. You do got to get your head in the game. I love High School Musical. I love musicals. Sports and musicals can coexist in this beautiful world. What a beautiful, beautiful movie. Even though High School Musical 1 is not even the best of the High School Musicals.
Tune in to the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt live every weekday at 8 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
It's more fun to be there live to see the Memphis Grizzlies hit the court all season long. From the electricity in FedEx Forum to the highlight reel plays, there's nothing quite like Grizzlies basketball. As the official marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies, Ticketmaster gets you in with a huge selection of seats. So get off the couch and into the stands while you still can. Score tickets today at Ticketmaster.com. That's Ticketmaster.com.
When it's all on the line, you turn to the strong, the stable, the unwavering. To those with a history of raising their performance to meet the moment. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st. And you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
This is an actual good shoe.
Yeah, it looks like
this
a
is
good
a
shoe.
real good shoe.
What you think about him, KJ? She likes Cheetos.
Like Cheetos?
Yeah,
like
nay.
Cheetos.
You like Cheetos?
For kids, yeah. Nay.
That's what I mean. For kids,
For kids,
1,000%.
Yeah.
And honestly, if I was still playing basketball, I played in brightly colored shoes. I wore pink shoes a lot of the time or purple shoes. I like that. The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Welcome back, Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. And on Tuesdays in the second segment, I'm joined by the host of the Chris Vernon Show. It is Chris Vernon. Hey, Chris Vernon, your king was courtside in Cleveland last night. What did it mean?
In the immortal words of Mike Francesa, who cares? Who cares?
That's your king. That's your king and his beautiful bride.
King. Your king. You and him. You, Bennett, and LeBron just riding around in a Dodge Charger listening to Drake.
No, we don't listen to Drake.
Yeah, you do.
You saw the video.
Yeah, you do. LeBron is a Drake guy.
I saw the video. Bennett, did you see the video?
All that means is that Kendrick Lamar is undeniable. That's all that means. But trust me, he's getting that video scrubbed from the internet.
I saw the video, and it was
guaranteed.
And it was LeBron.
Shout out Jordan Clarkson.
It was LeBron vibing to
Or
not like
Jordan
us.
Crawford, actually.
It was LeBron vibing to not like us. He's Team Kendrick. LeBron made it clear he's Team Kendrick.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
That's what I thought.
I didn't
get that thing scrubbed from the internet.
I didn't see him dancing.
700 million Google images of LeBron and Drake together at parties. Watch out! Watch out! Watch out!
Keep your family away. Keep your family away.
I mean, he had Bronny at the combine. So, I guess he was.
What is that story?
No, I guess he was keeping his family away.
Oh, yeah.
He's making sure he was in Chicago. He was in Cleveland.
I took what you said literally. That he had LeBron at the combine.
Oh, no.
And I was like, what? He got her pregnant at the combine? I was like, what?
That'd be a hell of a story.
That'd be a wild story.
Yeah.
That would be a wild deal.
Maybe he'll go back to Cleveland. Who knows?
Do you serious? What do you think, if anything? What was he trying to do?
Get attention like he always does. What are we talking about? He lives for it. He can't take it.
He can't handle it.
He can't take that everybody's talking about anything else.
Because
he doesn't play basketball in May anymore.
Right.
So 3 out of the last 4 years, he's in the play-in. And so he has to find some kind of way. So it's either, last year it was, I'm retiring.
Yes.
1 year it was, he showed up. If you remember this, he showed up with a brace on his hand, like after he lost in the finals, like his hand was broken.
Kings get hurt,
and then there was
Kings get hurt,
and then there was never a story about even a minor injury that he had sustained. And so, look, I guess they're not. The barbershop's not generating enough.
Yeah.
The podcast isn't generating enough. Like, he needs you talking about him. And so, how can I get everybody to talk about me? Here's my way.
Just show up in Cleveland and sit courtside.
He can't take it. He's probably jealous of Drake and Kendrick getting talked about so much. He can't take it.
Okay, so then we had a basketball game. The Celtics win it after we find out Donovan Mitchell's out. I mean, is this – I saw your friend Kevin O'Connor tweet this last night. Like, the Celtics will have the easiest path to the NBA Finals in history. I'm not a historian. I can't speak to that. But, man, it sure feels like it.
I mean, you'd have to go back to some of the LeBron ones.
That's enough. That's enough out of you.
Stop it.
That's enough.
You asked for it. Your boy Roy Hibbert was in the way. Paul George. You know he's big time clutch guy. Look, rattle off whoever you want to say are the best players in the Eastern Conference. Mm-hmm. They're not around.
Right.
Jimmy Butler wasn't even around. Jimmy Butler. I mean, if you line them up all on a wall and you said, all right, we're about to draft for the playoffs, like, you're taking Giannis,
right?
You're taking Joel Embiid. You're taking Jimmy Butler,
right?
I mean,
you would get to Donovan Mitchell eventually,
and you'd get to Brunson eventually,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
The fact that the three ones that we mentioned are all out. That's, certainly very, very fortunate, and it's not just that those stars are out. It's that Pacers team is not that good.
Right.
And they could be a representative if they're able to get past the Knicks. But if it's the Knicks have lost Julius Randle. They've lost OG Anunoby. They've lost Mitchell Robinson. They've lost Bojan Bogdanovic. I mean, this is 4 rotation guys
Oh, yeah.
for a rotation that doesn't even play guys, right? So that's an absolute killer. And their record with Anunoby and without Anunoby is just unbelievable.
I heard you
And
say
so-
that on the miss. What is the record?
It's 36 and no, what hold on. I got it.
I think you said 26-5.
26-5. That's right. 26-5 with Anunoby in the lineup in the 31 games, and in the 30 without 13-17.
That's insane.
It's insane.
Right.
But I mean, it's not your normal situation because when you extract someone, he's outstanding for them, a perfect fit for them, a connector, a glue guy, all that kind of stuff. But beyond that, he plays 45 minutes.
Right.
So I mean, you're right. A normal guy, you might be extracting 32 minutes. That's 45 minutes that you've got to replace by somebody that is wildly less productive.
And
on both ends.
Is there any hope? Like, is there any speculation that, like, if they get to the Eastern Conference Finals,
like with and the Mitchell thing last night when it came out,
Right.
it was a calf,
and that's done,
bro. Every year, and I've been doing that show for 8 years. Every year, it's the same thing: calves, groins, hamstrings.
Right.
You're done.
You're done. You're done.
And everybody always. I mean, I've been through the hopeful news
Right.
1,000 times. It never plays out.
Right.
They're always out longer than they say they're going to be out. Right. Kristaps Porzingis came out that night. I'm going to be fine. No, you're not.
Right.
No, you're not going to be fine. Because anybody that's looking at you is going, bro, you play on this calf, you're going to tear your Achilles like freaking Kevin Durant did.
Right. Right.
And Donovan Mitchell, same way. I mean, he won't. Again, there's anytime these guys, and you saw Anunoby, as soon as he grabbed the back of his leg,
Right.
you know he's done, man. You're done.
Oklahoma City comes back last night. They were down early, big.
Super impressive.
Got down by as many as 14. Have to come back in the fourth. I know Luka's hurt and Kyrie didn't play well, but still winning on the road in that fashion, huge.
Enormous.
That's the type of stuff where people will start to go, maybe they're not too young.
Yeah, because, and we've seen this with the Grizzlies prior to, it's like when you can win the game that's a Dallas game, which is we're not playing that thing in the 120s. This thing is going to be in the mud. We're going to drag you into the gutter, and we're going to see what you got. And, that's when because now it's you run a play, we run a play, who's got the best guy? And my mistake has been thinking Dallas has the best guy because Gilgeous-Alexander was the best guy, right? Like Luka, for whatever reason. And, there's part of me, and I see this with the Jokic thing too, and I know Luka is banged up. There's no way around that, right? And is laboring. That being said, there's part of me that thinks that Luka is going to come out in Game 5 and be the best player on the floor.
Right.
Like he's just going to summon it up, and that it's one of those, you saw it in Game 2, you saw it a little bit in Game 3, where it's like, okay, now it's go time. I gotta muster this. Like, I wonder if he's gonna have to get his back against the wall before we see the best, whatever the best. Because he was like, you can't blame injury for him just being lazy with the ball last night. I mean, he was throwing bad passes,
7 turnovers.
Yeah, I mean, he was throwing bad passes. He was a shell of himself last night, and just constantly, I use the word perpetually aggrieved. He's just pissed off the whole game. Every time his team scores, he's looking over. It's like your team just scored, right?
Right.
Or if anything, any call that goes against them, I mean, it's so annoying. It really is.
Have we reached the point where, like, that's going to be a thing that he's known?
I don't know. Anybody can watch them play and not be like, God.
Just cut it out.
Obviously, I've seen it in person before, but it's been on 10 throughout these playoffs.
Well, it's a little bit
every
like,
possession.
I was joking earlier, like, I got young kids and they aggravate each other, and the youngest will sometimes start whining, and you're just like, buddy, I get he's aggravating you, but like cut it out. The whining is more bothersome than him aggravating you right now. Like I'd rather watch him aggravate you than listen to you whine. So like cut it out. So like I know what that's like.
Yep.
And Doncic is doing that 48 minutes a game.
48 minutes.
Yeah. When things are going well, he's still just complaining.
Upset all the time. Just upset. It's crazy.
The other series is now. It was like, man, Minnesota's up 2-0 going home. They were big favorites at that point to advance. Denver ties it back up. Now Denver's the favorite. What happened in that series?
They're in trouble now.
Yeah.
Well, look, Jamal Murray got good again.
Right.
That's the easy answer is like, okay. And now is Cat going to get good again? Like, you've got to have that second guy, right? There's got to be a release valve so obviously when Murray is that good, then Jokic's that good. I also think that there's a real part of me that watched the Phoenix series and watched the first 2 games of the Denver series, and I talked about this yesterday. The numbers were freakish for Minnesota. There's 16 teams in the playoffs. There's only one whose effective field goal percentage went up. Everybody else's went down because there's a team game planning against you, right?
And the intensity's up, all that stuff.
And there's the only one that went up. Now, you could just say, oh, well, that's just Phoenix. But then it carried over to the first 2 games of the Minnesota series, and you're like, geez, man, they're scoring like 120 points per 100 possessions. Number 1 offense in the entire NBA throughout the playoffs. This isn't who they are.
Right.
That we spent an entire season. We just watched 82 games, and they were like 16th, 17th. I mean, more bottom half of the league than top half of the league in offense. They were amazing, smothering defense. Part of me thinks there's a little regression to the mean that went on, right? It's like, okay, they showed you that they were not this elite level offense. And then the other thing is, right, and this is where we were talking about Luka earlier, it's like Jokic decided I'm the best player in this series. And they started moving Aaron Gordon all around. I think there was, I thought about this after game 2. I was like, man, I really feel like, because they were so out of sorts and they were so discombobulated, and then they just lost their composure completely in that game. It really felt to me like a team that had prepared to go into that game and like, here's the adjustments we're going to make with Rudy Gobert in mind.
Right.
And none of it could work because Kyle Anderson's now out there, right? And Rudy Gobert was out for the birth of his child. And then when he came back, now for 3 and 4, now it's like, here's all the adjustments we made with Rudy Gobert in mind. And they're working. And Aaron Gordon's gone crazy in those games. And I think that there is a huge part of that. The other thing is, in the first 2 games, it looked like the bench was a huge advantage for Minnesota. If you were to go look at their net ratings now, net rating for Christian Brown, and this is like, offense, defense, per 100 possessions. What's happening on the court when we play out 100 possessions? Well, with Christian Brown on the court, it's like plus 19. With Reggie Jackson on the court, it's like plus 23. With Justin Holiday on the court, it's like plus 30. Like, they play out 100 possessions, that's what they're winning by. On the other side, Kyle Anderson's like minus 30. Naz Reid's like minus 23. Nickeil Alexander-Walker like minus 20. It's like, that was supposed to be an advantage for Minnesota. Anytime those 3 guys on the court, they're getting smoked. And so I don't think, and I think it brought up a lot of things in the first 2 games. It was like, man, really thought that like Denver was still going to be okay considering the way they played all season. But, geez, man, you might need Bruce Brown. You might need Jeff Green. You might need some of these guys that they had last year. And truth be told, they've been able to make the adjustments to where now, somehow, some way, their bench guys are coming in and have been a huge advantage. And that's against a team that we thought, 8 deep, they're bringing off 3 really good players that could bring something to the table and the 6th man of the year. And it's been a disaster for them.
Let's talk NBA draft before I let you go. Lottery was held Sunday. Grizzlies picking 9th. Zach Lowe reporting, I think what most of us have assumed, which is, Zach's going to leave his phone on. If somebody's interested in the 9th pick, we'll talk to you about it. Do you have a preference? What they should do? Execute the pick? Or I know it depends. It depends on what's out there.
There's obviously a lot of. There's a lot. It depends on what you could package with
right.
it. You can always move down and still retain. Right. It's interesting the way the trade played out, and I don't ever want to take away from. I loved having Steven Adams here, but if you remember that night, New Orleans moved down. Gave us 10. We gave them Valanciunas.
Right.
We got Steven Adams. and then they got like whatever it was, like 16,
Right.
who ended up being a much better player in Trey Murphy. Right. So, I mean, there's always those kind of machinations that could take place during the draft. I would not be surprised. I actually thought, and I get that that's out there, but I actually thought that when they got 9, that it would be more likely that they exercise the pick because you need cost certainty, on. And I'm of the opinion, I think Taylor, what's the kid's name from Hendricks? Is it Hendricks?
Taylor Hendricks.
Okay, yeah. He was 9 last year.
From Central Florida.
Yeah, he's like $4.6 million. Right? I mean, that's the gold in the NBA. Like, if you can find somebody, if you nail it, and you find somebody that can play for you for 4 years at that kind of a rate, like that's you it's just it's the most cost-effective thing. If you can hit it, again, it's about hitting it.
And that's also where moving down might be attractive because every slot you move down is less money.
That's right.
Right.
And so you might be able to. Maybe somebody else wants. So, I've told you I love the kid from, like, there are some win now players, right? Who happens to be Anthony Carter's kid, who's on staff, Devin Carter. Like, there's no question Devin Carter can play in the NBA next year.
There's a
playoffs
few of those guys. That Tristan Da Silva is ready to go. Devin Carter's ready to go. Kevin McCullough's ready to go. These aren't guys. Carter, you might look at 9. The other ones, maybe not.
That's
but
right.
like, there are players that you can get in the first round who, theoretically, they're 22, 23. They're ready to go.
And and I do think that you've got to. If it was higher, interestingly enough, if it was a higher pick, I think it'd be much more likely to trade it. Because then it's the asset that is the 4th pick in the draft, the 3rd pick in the draft. And that's your best asset. That's your best asset that you have to move. On the other side, 9, that's more of a we're packaging with something in order to get something, which I could totally see as well, right? They might just want, they're certainly going to be in win now mode rather than development. So that player, if they have the ability to get a player that they think is able to play and be in the rotation by next year, then I could see exercising the pick. Other than that, it's probably packaged with something in order to get something that can play for you.
Last thing, yesterday, Zach Edey created some headlines because he was just standing out at the three-point line and making jumpers. Now, they're just open jumpers. And as you've said on the Mismatch podcast last night, and we both made this point before, go to an NBA game, get there an hour early, and watch these guys shoot around. They're all amazing. Nobody ever misses. It's incredible. So I don't know what to make of Zach Edey just knocking down wide open three-pointers in an open gym, but he did. And I guess what I'm at, are you a believer? Like, not with the 9th pick, or maybe with, like, let's just say middle of the first round. Are you a believer Zach Edey's going to matter in the NBA?
I'm torn on him. I certainly think that he is going to be useful. I also think he's going to be useful. I do not think he's going to be like a guy that you can. I don't think anybody's thinking they could build their franchise around him. But I think he's a useful player who will get absolutely played off the court in a lot of situations. He's too slow.
Right.
That you're watching these playoffs. That high screen, you still he can be a drop coverage guy, right? Where it's like, geez, man, when you get, he might be unplayable. It's very. I'm trying to think, like Enes Kanter. Remember how Enes Kanter would just get like I can remember. There's that famous clip of Billy Donovan. He's like, I can't play him.
Right.
Because every time they're just going to take his man and set that screen.
Right?
And this guy can't move his feet. He's not going to he's not switching on to the guard.
Never. Not even trying.
Never.
Right.
And that's the big difference between, like, say, him and
Klingon.
Like when you were watching Klingon. Yeah, Klingon can move his feet. And you watch all these bigs. It's like, man, you put a lot of pressure on these guys if they're just going to be standing in front of the basket.
You know where you really see it? Like at the Final Four, I was in the building, and you could actually watch him go up and down the court. He moves very slowly.
He does.
And they just wait on him.
He's not athletic.
Right, not at all. He's gotten better, but he's still like he's one. And
he could be useful. I just don't think he's going to be like a major player in the NBA,
Right.
and I don't think he's going to be like a 30-something minute player.
It's one of those deals where no matter what he becomes, you'll be able to look back at it with the benefit of hindsight and go, well, of course. Like if he's good, you'll be like, well, of course. He dominated college basketball for 2 straight years. It's shocking he's good. Of course he's good. And if he's not, you're going to be like, well, he could never move at all. Of course he's not good in the NBA. No matter what happens, you'll be able to look back and say that.
And here's the other thing. It's weird because he is the reverse. There was like we look back and we go, these high school guys were like, damn, man, once upon a time, everybody loved him, and then they didn't love him anymore. And it's like, man, maybe they should have loved him, right? Like, say, G.G. Jackson, say Naz Reid, maybe like whoever, right? And it's like these guys, for their whole prep career, were considered the best of the best. And then something happened, and everybody fell out of love with them, whatever. His is the reverse.
That's right.
Bro, a year ago, nobody wanted him.
Right.
Why?
Right. For the same reasons people are skeptical now. But he became a better player. But like the idea
But a better player offensively, right?
Yeah.
Bro, nobody posts up.
Well,
nobody.
Right. And here's the this was interesting to me as well because he went from like, yeah, he's probably not even draftable to he might be a lottery pick. And I'm like, what changed?
What?
Right. Right.
I mean, he is
I have him in the 20s, like mid-20s. I have him lower than everybody else.
I mean, that's the crazy thing to me. It's like, okay, he got better, but are you telling me that you're going to like have him be a big part of your offense and those post-ups are going to be a big part of your offense? Because that's all he does.
Right.
I don't give a damn about all this combine stuff and him shooting from outside. Right. You know very well nobody's going to be having him on the outside throwing, you've got to pretend. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of there's this guy, Zeke Barkowski, who is like this. He's like this massive quarterback guru. And the guys over at CAA at the time got Tebow with Zeke Barkowski for an entire, for like 4 weeks, intensive, every single day. He's the guy. And, man, they had that joker looking like John Elway, like the drops, the footwork, the throwing over the top, the whole thing. And then they got him drafted in the first round. And then as soon as he got drafted in the first round, he's still sidearm. That's what this reminds me of, right? It's like, okay, yeah, cool. Zach Edey's shooting a bunch of threes.
Right.
Like, he's not going to be shooting a bunch of threes in the NBA.
Right.
And so how much post-up stuff am I going to be doing with Zach Edey? And if I'm not, how useful is he? Because he's not really like a screen it, roll to the basket. I just throw it up.
He can do some of that.
He can, but he's not a mega athlete.
No, but he is like 7 inches.
He is 7'5".
Yeah,
and that might I told you he's going to be useful just to give you minutes against somebody that's got these big guys because there's a lot of big guys now. But in this day and age, you're seeing all kinds of 7-footers that are standing out at the 3-point line, and like I've watched Jaren Jackson cross people over.
Right.
I mean, it's a different world now. You seen Wembanyama?
Right.
This guy's facing up. Right. Like, this guy's like from the friggin' 80s.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, no, he's a traditional college big, just 5 inches taller than most of them we've ever had.
Yes.
But I
mean, Walker Kessler's useful too.
Right.
I mean, again, these guys can be useful.
Right.
I'm just saying, starting center, like I run offense through him because, I mean, on defense, it's going to be
That's
be
the
tough.
killer.
You have to build your defense around a guy who's not exactly some kind of killer shot blocker. That's not what he was known as.
No.
Even though he is just literally standing in front of the basket.
Like if you watch the national championship game, you'd go, hold up. Donovan Clingan's going to go 20 spots higher than Zach Edey?
Right.
Because Zach Edey, gave it to him pretty good.
Yep.
But, Donovan Clingan can move his feet, and Zach Edey can't. And that is the difference in 20 spots in the draft.
You don't get to stand in the lane.
Right.
You got to move.
Right.
And it's like, man, is he going to be – and usually the guys like that, they are drafted because of their defense. Make no mistake, Clingan is being drafted because of his defense.
Of course.
Nobody's sitting there going like, oh, yeah, Clingan's going to fit right in and be able to
He is not a modern big on the
No.
offensive end,
No.
but he has a chance to be really special on the defensive end.
For sure.
Right.
Really, and just set good screens and finish lobs.
That's right.
That's all he has to do. And Edey, anybody will say if you're doing the pros, it's all offensive stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the defensive stuff, it's like you're going to be able. he's gonna get played off the court, bro. Like, I mean, just think about it through the prism of the Grizzlies.
Right.
Let's say he's guarding, let's say Jaren Jackson.
Right.
I mean, you're in hell.
Yeah.
Jaren goes and sets that screen on whoever the guard is, and now Ja's coming around the corner. Like, who is Edie guarding now, right?
No.
Like, I mean, you really got to be able to be mobile.
And because it'll be one floater after another from the elbow.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that's even if he comes out.
Right.
Because he's never going to be at the level.
Right.
Because you can't have him that far away from the basket, so he has no chance to recover.
And then Ja's going to try to take his head off.
Right.
That'd be fun. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that. All right, Chris Vernon.
All right,
I'll see
brother.
you later. He'll be in
Holla,
studio noon, Grind City Media. When we come back, it has been announced by the SEC. Arkansas will play at Kentucky next season. That means John Calipari is going back to Rupp Arena. How will he be treated? I'll ask Bennett next. It's the Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South.
I think we have the college basketball title futures. UConn's number one.
I really like Houston. I'd have them winning it all, but you can't be giving Drake jerseys. What is wrong with you?
Maybe the Drake curse is stronger in college basketball.
Well, how long has he been riding with Kentucky?
He wore an Alabama jersey and Saban retired.
The Odds Couple with Rob Fisher, Lang Whitaker, John Roser, and CJ Hurt live Thursdays at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
You had 7 games where you had 5 assists or more. Do you know how many times prior to that in your NBA career you have had 5 assists in a game? Twice. How about that?
What,
Your playmaking Jared. Playmaking Jared.
Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd's crazy. Trip Kidd is crazy.
The Chris Vernon Show, presented by Caesars Sportsbook, live weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
This is an actual good shoe.
Yeah, it looks like
this
a good
is
shoe.
real good shoe.
What you think about him, KJ? She likes Cheetos.
Like Cheetos?
Yeah,
You
you're
like
nice.
Cheetos?
You like Cheetos?
For kids, yeah, you're nice.
That's what I mean. For kids,
For kids,
1,000%.
Yeah.
And honestly, if I was still playing basketball, I played in brightly colored shoes. I wore pink shoes a lot of the time or purple shoes. Like, I like that. The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
LifeCare Ambulance is proud to be an official partner of the Memphis Grizzlies and FedEx Forum. At LifeCare, they wear their hearts with pride. Their passion is their people. They want you to love what you do and where you do it. Their employee-driven culture encourages a healthy work-life balance and supportive work environment. They invest in your success and well-being so that you can provide the best care for the patients that they serve. Join the incredible team of EMTs and paramedics in Memphis, Nashville, and across the nation today. Learn more at lifecareamb.com.
Lindsey Harding has gotten a chance to interview for the Charlotte Hornets vacancy.
She's proven that she could coach on the men's side. She's done a fantastic job and got this G League opportunity and was Coach of the Year. This is fantastic for women's basketball.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizbeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Orthopedic injuries can be unpredictable, unforeseen, and unscheduled, and Ortho South understands this better than anyone. Since your injuries don't make appointments, you don't need to either. And that's because Ortho South welcomes walk-ins during the weekdays and the evenings and even on Saturdays. So next time an unforeseen injury makes an unscheduled appearance in your life, visit orthosouth.org to find your nearest urgent care location. Just walk in and Ortho South will take care of everything, especially you. Learn more at orthosouth.org. That's orthosouth at orthosouth.org. Now I've got 5 more things you need to know.
Number 1.
The SEC has announced that Kentucky and Arkansas will play one time in the regular season next season, and that game will happen inside Rupp Arena in Lexington, Kentucky, on a date to be determined later. That means John Calipari will return to Rupp Arena next season as a visitor for the first time. How will he be treated?
I would think well. But college, I mean, fans are weird, dude.
Fans are weird.
Yeah, and that's a passionate fan base. I don't know why you would boo him. I mean, he brought you a national championship, and listen, I know that you wanted more national championships out of that long tenure, but you got a national championship. You got a million dudes going pro and playing in the NBA. I mean, how could you not give him a standing ovation? I don't. And I say this as a Memphis fan, and you know where I stand on this. I thought, because remember years back when we were going to bring him back and celebrate that team, and the fans, pushed back on it and they ended up canceling it.
Right.
I'm one of those people.
Which was stupid, by the way.
It was really stupid.
Like, it's stupid in multiple ways. Like, one, if you really think it was a mistake to do this, then it was stupid to do it. All right? It was also stupid, though, once you committed to it, to embarrass him and say, we're going to cancel this because everybody hates you. So whatever, and I think President Rudd was in charge of that.
That's right.
Yeah. So he was either stupid to, and I shouldn't say that word. I don't mean that. He's a brilliant man.
Of course.
He was either short-sighted, that's a better way to put it, to plan this without properly recognizing how it would play with the fans, or he was some other word for then canceling it when the fans poked up a little bit.
Yeah.
Either way, it was mishandled.
Completely agree. And I think that hopefully I hope one day that he can come back here and he will get a standing ovation in that arena. We can put the banner back up and have a great time with it all, because I think it's deserved. It's the greatest era of that program for the most part.
People got mad at me the day after John left for Kentucky because I said nobody wants to hear this, which is probably a cue I shouldn't even have said it. Because what was I trying to do, right? Make people feel worse than they already did? What was the point? But one of the points I made was the best 4 years of Memphis basketball any of us have ever experienced or will ever experience just happened. That's it. Like, what if I just told you, Bennett, the best years of your life are now over? They'd be like, whoa, that's a weird thing to hear from you. Why are you telling me that? But I remember making that point. Like, the best 4 years of Memphis basketball that you enjoyed, that I enjoyed, that my mother enjoyed, that everybody in this city enjoyed in surrounding areas, you'll never get that again. And, like, I still think I'm probably right.
Yeah, you did a lot of hurtful things that week.
I didn't.
You had John Robick on after he.
Did I?
Yes.
I don't remember that at all.
I remember listening to that and being like, even after he went off, because you had him on every week, right? You had Robick on, or one of the assistants on.
Remember?
Okay, we used to on your radio show. This one you're on AM, and this was the week that Cal left, and you have Robick on, and y'all said your goodbyes and everything. And I remember because I was doing deliveries, and I remember sitting and listening, and you going after the interview, you going, yeah, we probably shouldn't have done that.
I don't remember that at all.
It was so depressing.
I have no recollection of that.
It was such a depressing week.
It was tough.
Yeah.
It was tough. I do think John has a better chance of being treated better in Rupp Arena next season than he would have had at any point over the past 15 years of being treated inside FedEx Forum, just because the context is different. Like, he didn't want to leave Kentucky. He wanted to retire at Kentucky. He even talked to Dennis Dodd like last week and was like, it sucked. Like, the way this ended sucked. Those are his words. And I've never heard him say something so simple. Like, he usually uses a lot of words to say sometimes very little stuff. But he was just like, it was the first time I'd ever heard him like show real hurt and sadness, disappointment about the way something ended. Because even when he announced he was resigning as the head coach of Kentucky, it was just like, hey, we had some good times, and things just run their course sometimes, and this program needs a new voice. And he sounded like as upbeat as he could possibly sound. And in this story with Dennis Dodd, he sounded sad. Like, Dennis was like, so what was it like?
Yeah.
And he's like, it sucked. This sucks. Like, I hate that my life. He's happy to be at Arkansas and all that stuff.
For sure.
But, like, these are my words, not his, but this is the sentiment he left Dennis with, which is, I'm happy where I'm at, and this is an amazing opportunity, but I never expected to have to leave Kentucky under these circumstances. I never wanted to leave that place. I wanted to coach until I was done coaching and then retire and then be inside those games and be a ambassador for the university and be around town and just sort of be the king of Lexington forever. And then it got so ugly and so nasty that from a quality of life perspective, it was just time to go. My wife was miserable. My kids are grown, but like they still feel it. and I feel it, frankly, and it was just time to go, but it sucks. And so he's made it clear he didn't want to leave, and has also made it clear, he's never said this, but this is true, the only reason I'm leaving is because, yes, it's on me. I didn't win enough, particularly in the postseason, and the criticism was fair. But it got so loud and so intense and so ugly that, like, you guys ran me out of here. That's what really happened. Like, Kentucky is the last three coaches, every coach since Rick Pitino, like the last three coaches, Tubby Smith, Billy Gillespie, John Calipari, two of them got ran out. Like, just got they took inferior jobs just to get out of there. That's Tubby Smith going to Minnesota, John Calipari going to Arkansas. And the other one, Billy Clyde, they fired him after 2 years. So that's Kentucky basketball going back a long the mid-90s.
Yep.
All right? So Kentucky fans can say all they want that, well, he left on his own. Yeah, that's technically true, but like you shoved him out the door. You grabbed him and pulled him out the door. So, and you celebrated when he left. You know what it's a lot like? Josh Pastner leaving Memphis. So let me ask you this. If Josh Pastner were to come back to Memphis, how would he be treated? I think well.
I think so, too. Why would you boo him?
Well, and people know, like, he didn't leave us because he wanted to leave us. He left us because we made his life so difficult that going to Georgia Tech made more sense, right?
Yep.
Well, John Calipari didn't want to go to Arkansas. He went to Arkansas because his life had gotten so miserable at Kentucky that it made more sense to leave. And so those situations are similar, but the situation between John and Memphis is very different because he did want to go to Kentucky. He did not want to be here anymore.
Right.
And then he said stuff on the way out the door like, now I'm at Kentucky. It's nice to not be at the kids' table anymore.
Sure.
And people just don't want to hear that.
Of course.
Because it's like, all right, you left us. Let us move on. But you don't have to criticize us on your way out the door, right? So I think Memphis fans should more properly appreciate what that man did for this university. But I learned a long time ago I can't tell people how to feel about John Calipari. I as a graduate of that university, I am appreciative of what he did for that university. But I understand I'm in the minority here among graduates of that university. People still either just don't like him or don't like the way he left. And so coming back to FedEx Forum would be difficult for him. But I actually won't be surprised if he is treated fondly at Kentucky when he goes back, because he was there 15 years.
Yep.
He won 6 SEC titles, 6 SEC tournaments, made 4 Final Fours, won 1 national championship, and did enough to gain entrance into the Naismith Memorial Hall of Fame. And then he didn't leave you for a different job or a better job or for anything. He left you because you wanted him to leave, right? I mean, that's when you boil it down, that's what it is. He left because you wanted him to. And I think as long as Kentucky finds itself in a good place under Mark Pope, and I think it will, then you can let the past be the past and maybe focus on the good years of the 15 instead of the not so great years of the 15 and properly stand and applaud. If I were betting today, I would bet there's more cheers than boos when John Calipari goes back to Rupp Arena.
I agree.
We'll see.
Number 2.
Kirk Cousins has spoken for the first time, went on a podcast, spoken for the first time about the Falcons drafting Michael Penix Jr. in the first round after signing him to a massive contract this offseason as a free agent. And you know what he said? He said he called Michael Penix and he told him, I'm a big fan of what you were able to accomplish in college. And yes, I am surprised that they spent a first-round draft pick, not on you, but on a quarterback, just anybody. I'd be saying the same thing no matter who they took in the first round. If they use that pick on a quarterback, I would be surprised. But like, what's done is done. Neither one of us gain anything by being upset with our situations, being upset with the front office. I'm getting paid a lot of money to play football. I didn't think this is the way this would unfold. But now we need to get together, and we're going to be coworkers, and we're going to do our best to try to put this franchise in a position to win a Super Bowl. Sounds like a pretty mature response.
Yeah.
Would you be as mature?
Yeah, I would hope so. I would hope. No, probably not.
I don't think I would either.
I might be Aaron Rodgers.
I would be.
I'd be Aaron Rodgers.
I would be frustrated still. Not with Michael Penix because it's not his fault.
Yeah.
And I probably would make that phone call the same way Kirk Cousins did.
Yeah.
And just be like, listen, you're going to read things and hear things like I'm upset and I'm disappointed and I am frustrated. And it's true. I am. All of those things. But it's got nothing to do with you. It's got to do with the people who signed me to a big contract and then immediately used a first-round pick, not on something to help me, but on something to take my job someday down the road, theoretically. All right? So, yes, I am frustrated, disappointed, all that stuff, but it's got nothing to do with you.
Right.
This is not your fault. I'm a fan of what you did in college, and I can't wait to work with you and grow with you. Like, I think it's possible to hold both of those opinions. Kirk Cousins took it a step further. He said, it doesn't do any good to sit around being mad about it. That might be a lesson for all of us.
I think it is a lesson. Good on you, Kirk.
Good on learning from Kirk Cousins. Maybe I should take his. Maybe we all should take his advice. Are you willing to take his advice?
No.
Yeah, I'm probably not either.
No.
But I feel like it's good advice.
Yeah.
It's just hard to take.
Yeah.
That's most advice.
Number 3.
Jerry Seinfeld did actually call his friend Howard Stern and personally apologize for what he said on a podcast. Everybody's saying stuff on podcasts, aren't they?
I know, that's where this stuff gets out.
It's wild. Jerry Seinfeld said he called Howard Stern on his show, said Jerry Seinfeld did call me. For the backstory, we talked about this last week.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Seinfeld went on a podcast with Dana Carvey and David Spade and said, it's interesting, like we're in this space right now. Real comedians are in this space right now, talking to each other. And so, like, Howard sort of got pushed out the way a little bit. He's talking about Howard Stern. He said, because, like, Howard Stern, he owned this space, this talking space for a long time. But here's the truth. That was a time when he was really only competing with other radio people, disc jockeys, and, you know, not traditional comedians, not actual stand-up comedians and comedic actors. But now that we're all in this space, like actual comedians, like, that must be hard for Howard because he's not an actual comedian. And that would hurt if you heard that if you were Howard Stern, wouldn't it? Mm-hmm. And so Howard Stern did say he was a little, he was disappointed to hear it. And that he does kind of think of himself as a comedian, even if he's not a traditional comedian like, say, David Spade or Dana Carvey or Jerry Seinfeld. But he said Jerry Seinfeld did call him and said, Howard, I'm sorry. We were just talking. And I said something that I wish I would not have said. It came out the wrong way. I felt awful. And I wanted to tell you that myself. You accept his apology, Bennett?
Sure.
Why not, right?
Yeah.
Why not? I mean, Jerry Seinfeld had a rough weekend. You see him at Duke getting booed.
Oh, yeah. And his movie flopped.
Yeah. So, and then he went on a podcast and said something he wished he wouldn't have said. I think if you're Howard Stern, if you got any sort of, stuff to you, you have to accept his apology, right? Yeah. Plus, I take Jerry Seinfeld at his word. I actually believe he was trying to make a point, and while making that point, at the expense of one of his friends, he made the point at the expense of one of his friends, but he wasn't actually trying to take a shot at his friend. He was trying to make a larger point about this space now. Mm. But it came across the wrong way. It came out the wrong way, and he felt like shit afterwards. I do that sometimes.
Sure.
Like when you talk nonstop and it's for public consumption, you are going to say things sometimes that you wish you would have said differently. I have a moment from last week, and I don't even know if you would remember it. I'm not even going to bring it up because I was joking. I was joking around about something, and then I took the joke one step further, and I said something, and if all you did was clip it and played it back to me, I'd be like, ugh, I can't believe those words in that order came out of my mouth because it's not representative of how I actually feel. It was just a stupid joke that was misplaced, right? And nobody ever really but I've thought about that since I said it.
Okay.
Just that I wish I would not have said that because A, it wasn't funny, and B, if somebody heard that who doesn't actually know me, and I don't mean know me from the show, but like, sit on the couch with me.
Yeah.
Who doesn't actually know me, you would be like, oh, I guess that guy thinks that way. And I don't at all. It was just a joke, a bad joke, poorly placed joke. And I've thought about that every day since last week. I had a moment too, in a social setting, and I was around some people I didn't really know too well. Mm-hmm. And if you knew, it was the type of joke I could make with, I could make with Vernon and Roser and you, and we would all laugh, and you would know, he's just goofing around.
Yep.
But I said it, and I was like, ugh, these people don't know me like that. Mm-hmm. They might wonder, like, oh, wow, I'm just goofing around, just goofing around.
You are a little wild behind the scenes.
I can get a little wild behind the scenes.
You get a little wild behind.
Sometimes I get a little wild behind the scenes, So I empathize with Jerry Seinfeld. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I understand what it's like to say something that you wish you would have said differently. And you meant no harm. You meant no harm when you said it. But still, you just wish you wouldn't have said it.
Mm-hmm.
I had one of these with Vernon one time, long time ago. I bet he doesn't even remember it.
What?
I said something on radio that he interpreted as a shot at him.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I said it, I was like, I am so clearly in my own mind joking around.
Mm-hmm.
But if he hears that, he's going to take it personally.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to think that I was being a jerk. And I wasn't. I was just joking around. Now we could say anything about anything, and it was like, who cares?
Yeah.
But in that moment, I was like, old buddy, the text messages came, and he was fired up.
Uh-huh.
And I remember we were both at a Grizzlies game that night, and we were sitting, our seats happened to be next to each other, and I plopped down right next to him. And I said, all right, what do you need me to say? I'm sorry, I wish I wouldn't have said that. What do we got to do? Because we got to sit here for the next 2 hours, and we're friends, so let's stop being stupid. What do we need to do? And then it was over, just like that, right? I apologized. He accepted my apology. But it was one of those deals where I felt just like Jerry Seinfeld in that moment. Man, I was just talking, I was trying to make a point, and I didn't mean it the way it came across. And if you took offense to it, and I know you did, I understand why you did, and I want to apologize for that. I was Jerry Seinfeld before Jerry Seinfeld
sounds like
was
it.
Jerry Seinfeld. I think that's really what I was trying to say.
Good on Jerry.
And good on me.
Good on you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you just put this in here to this is just a little therapy session
Just
for
to
you?
make me feel better about myself. See how nice Jerry Seinfeld is to call Howard Stern?
Yeah.
I used to do stuff like that all the time.
Good.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Good.
You caught me.
All right.
Number 4.
Monday Night Football season opener has been announced.
Mm-hmm.
Can I interest you in the Jets and the 49ers?
You can't interest me. Now, was it Monday Night Football where he tore his Achilles? Or was that Sunday Night Football?
I think that was Sunday
Okay, that might have been
Night
Sunday
Football.
Night Football. It was one of those
But
big ones. Yeah.
Did you see this? I was reading about it this morning. And obviously, it's a big story because we haven't seen Aaron Rodgers play since last year's season opener, even though he spent months telling us that he was going to play again.
Yep.
That was wild.
That was so wild.
He kept acting like at the age of 77, he was going to be the fastest person to ever come back from an Achilles injury, ever. That was wild. That was a wild thing to throw out there.
Some people believed it.
Some people did believe it.
Some people believed it.
I guess.
I wasn't one of them.
I was always skeptical.
Yeah, I was like, if Kevin Durant can't do it, I don't
Yeah.
think Aaron Rodgers is going to be able to
I was
do it.
always skeptical.
Right.
So it's big no matter what, but it's Aaron Rodgers in prime time again, a standalone game. You know how much people like those. And then how about this? The 49ers, this offseason, you know who they signed? Leonard Floyd. Do you know who Leonard Floyd is?
No.
Okay, neither do I. But
I was like, should I know him?
no, I mean, who does?
Okay.
But do you know if you Googled Leonard Floyd what you'd find out? Guess who tackled Aaron Rodgers last year when he tore his Achilles?
So we're going to re-show that play
100,000 times.
5,000 times
Yeah.
during that game.
And Leonard
Great.
Floyd's going to be
Can't
asked
wait.
about it, and Aaron Rodgers is going to be asked about it. And if you're Aaron Rodgers and you look up and there's Leonard Floyd right across the line of scrimmage from you again, ooh, that's boogeyman stuff.
Yeah, I think it was. King Meek said it was Monday Night Football.
See there?
Yeah.
Monday Night
Football.
Football.
So, yeah, we're back.
We're back right
1
where we
year
were.
later.
Man, it'd be something if he gets hurt again, wouldn't it? And it's the 49ers, so they could hurt you.
That's right. They got some crazy dudes on that defense.
I saw somebody tweet last night that if the Jets were smart, they just set him out week one. Let's the 49ers get out the way.
Let's get that out of the way.
You know, let somebody else get hurt, and then let's figure out week two.
I don't know. They might be good. Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who could say? Anyway, Monday Night Football, week one. Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, we got a bunch of stuff that just got announced.
What else we got?
Well,
I saw Kansas City going to go to Cincinnati in week two.
Yeah, and then Dolphins Bills is the first Thursday night football game, I believe. So
It would have to be the second Thursday night game because the first one is going to be
the
Chiefs
the opener,
and Ravens.
Okay,
right.
so because don't they wait a little bit before they start doing Thursday night every single week, or is that just every week now?
I think it's every week.
Okay, well they're the first one on Prime, I guess.
Big schedule. Yeah. Big schedule announcement is coming tomorrow night. Do you watch that?
No, I mean, I already know who the Titans are going to play, so it's just like, you're finding. I don't care about it as much. Yeah. NFL fans, and I'm one of them, love this, and I don't really get it
I
as much
can't
because I
wrap
already
my
know
head.
who we're going to play.
If you already know who you're playing, like why is it a big deal? Unless you're planning to go to the games?
Yeah, I mean, you're planning to go.
Why is it a big deal to know?
Or it's like, okay, this stretch right here is going to be, this you got to win 3 out of 4 here, whatnot. Like I think that's a big part of it. But again, you already know who you're playing, so I don't know why it's such a big deal.
I'm the same way with the NBA schedule. Like I want to see it when it's announced, so that I can okay, when is LeBron here? When is Steph here? When is Anthony Edwards here? Or the Grizzlies on Christmas?
Yeah.
How many But for the NFL, it's like it's so such a lower amount of games.
Yeah.
They're all going to be on national television.
That's right.
So what do we? I don't understand what we're doing exactly. I don't understand how people get so fired up about it. But I'm glad they do, and I don't want to ruin anybody's fun. So if you want to have fun watching a 3-hour schedule announcement tomorrow night in prime time, well, congrats. Lucky you.
I say all that to say I will be watching.
I won't. I will
will
not.
be
I don't even think
Yes.
when I sit in my office, I have a lot of screens, and I can turn on anything, and I don't even know if I'll have it on a screen.
Well, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to a game this year, so we're gonna try to go to Titans Bengals. So I'm anxious to see when that game's gonna be, because hoping it's a Sunday at noon, right? Because you can go down and then come back. You don't have to spend a weekend or anything.
But don't you want to spend a weekend?
Yeah, Nashville's expensive, bro.
It really is.
Nashville
hotels
has
in
gotten
Nashville.
so expensive.
I haven't stayed there in a little while, but the last time I had to go to Nashville and get a hotel, it was like more expensive than New York City.
Dude, it's outrageous.
Yeah.
It's crazy how expensive it's gotten there. So
What a wild deal,
Yeah.
Anyway, Monday Night Football, Aaron Rodgers, he's going to play San Francisco 49ers in the opener. Good for him.
Number 5.
Guess who makes their WNBA regular season debut tonight?
Caitlin Clark.
Yep. Caitlin Clark. Oh, by the way.
This is the start of the season tonight.
Tonight's the night.
Yeah, okay.
We open in the WNBA season 2024-25 tonight. By the way, did you watch this Full Court Press documentary over the weekend?
Mm-mm.
They aired it on ABC before the lottery on Sunday, I guess. So I already had the TV on.
Yep.
I just I'll turn it on and just whatever's on is on, so that, I don't know what I was doing. And I just sort of randomly started watching. It's really good. It was about women's college basketball this season. And so they, they were with South Carolina and they were with Iowa, and behind the scenes stuff, in the hotel room stuff, and locker room stuff.
Yeah.
By the way, Iowa's coach just announced she's retiring.
I saw that.
Yeah. So, she went out not quite on top, but back-to-back appearances in the national championship game. She's a legend. I hope she enjoys her retirement. But this Full Court Press documentary, if you look for something to watch,
it was good.
Really well done. And I noticed at the end, it said executive produced. Like the first name you see at the end, executive producer, Kristen Lapis, Steve Lapis' daughter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like Lap's, I work with Lap.
Yep.
And his daughter used to work for ESPN, and now she works for a company. They make documentaries, and then they sell them to Netflix or ABC or whatever. And so this was her project. She did this. She also did, you remember the Giannis documentary?
Yeah.
She did that one too. So it's really well done if you want to watch it. Caitlin Clark, obviously a big part of it. She's making her WNBA regular season debut tonight. They're playing the Connecticut Sun on the road. And guess how many tickets are available? 0.
Oh, it's sold out. Okay.
9,000 seats, sold out. You ready for this? The Connecticut Sun have been playing at the Mohegan Sun Casino since 2003. All right?
Okay.
It's more than 20 years. Guess how many sellouts they've had before tonight?
One.
It is one. The first game ever.
How about that?
So here's our first answer to the question, is this going to translate to the WNBA? This Caitlin Clark phenomenon. Okay, this ain't even an Indiana home game. She's on the road. She's filling up an arena nobody else has ever been able to fill up.
Yeah, well, I saw JB talking about it this morning that, they're going to, because they had the chartered flight. There was the chartered flight thing, but some teams don't have it yet or something like that. But apparently then Kelsey jumped in and said, apparently all the teams are about to
Every
have chartered
WNBA
flights.
team's going to charter flight now.
Yeah. So clearly it's changing.
She is changing the way the league operates. I mean, she is quite literally changing the way the league operates. The league will never say we're doing this because of Caitlin Clark, but they are doing this because of Caitlin Clark. Because they anticipate the revenue streams are going to increase because of her. Not just in the arenas, but television contracts, everything. How about this? I will not turn on, I don't think, the schedule released tomorrow night, I will have this on tonight.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I want to
see it too.
Yeah, I want to see it. It's a big deal.
It's also gonna. I mean, a sold out arena. Like
sold out arena is gonna look like
it's gonna
look like a big thing.
Yep.
And so this is the first answer to the question: can the Caitlin Clark phenomenon transition to the WNBA and make a similar impact? Well, she already is.
Mm-hmm.
They're chartering for the first time ever. She's selling out an arena that's been hosting WNBA games for more than 2 decades and has only ever sold out once before. She's coming to town for the season opener, sell out, no tickets available. She's a big deal. We'll see how she plays tonight, but either way, we know the arena is going to be jam-packed. ESPN2, that's where you can find it.
I'll be there.
Tip-off is scheduled for 6:30 Central. Be back with GP's Carryout.
I think we have the college basketball title futures. UConn's number 1.
I really like Houston. I'd have them winning it all, but you can't be giving Drake jerseys. What is wrong with you?
Maybe the Drake curse is stronger in college basketball.
Well, how long has he been riding with Kentucky?
He wore an Alabama jersey and Saban retired.
The Odds Couple with Rob Fisher, Lang Whitaker, John Roser, and CJ Hurt live Thursdays at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Hey Grizzlies fans, after exciting hoops and a lucky night of gaming, where do you rest your head? Look no further than Southland Casino Hotel, proud sponsor of the Memphis Grizzlies. Our high-rise hotel is the epitome of luxury and comfort. Picture this, you've just finished an evening of gaming and dining, so you head on over to one of our 300 rooms to end the night. Choose from standard suite and presidential suite, plus we're pet-friendly and offer mobility scooters for rent. It's a seamless experience for everyone. And don't miss the Main Street Exchange, right in the heart of our casino lobby. Whether you're craving a snack or need a souvenir of your stay, we've got you covered. From polo shirts to shot glasses, take a piece of the Southland excitement home with you. So come stay and play at Southland Casino Hotel, where every moment is designed for your enjoyment. Book your hotel stay by calling 833-703-3350 or visit online at southlandcasinohotel.com/hotel.
Guests must be 21 years of age or older to check in at hotel. Must be 21 plus. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Let's talk about MVPs.
Let's do it. I went with the Joker.
Oh my God,
Nikola
Nikola freaking Jokic.
Every time I watch him play, I am so impressed.
I'm obsessed with him.
Yeah.
Everything he does works. He can pass, he can shoot, he can rebound, he can drive, he can defend. Like, he can do everything.
He can lead the fast break, and he's like 7-1.
IMHO with Lang Whitaker and me, Kelsey Wright Johnson, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Nate Bargatze, the Be Funny Tour.
I mean, Chuck E. Cheese is rough. I don't know if you've been there in a while. They look like they're trying to go to business and they can't.
All new material.
They filed for bankruptcy and they're still open. They called Blockbuster and they're like, how do you get out? We want out.
Nate Bargatze.
Friday, May 31st, FedEx Forum. Tickets available at FedEx Forum box office or Ticketmaster.com. Produced by Outback Presents.
Nate Bargatze, the Be Funny Tour.
Welcome back, Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. Some college basketball news. My colleague John Rothstein reporting that Doug Gottlieb has emerged as a serious candidate to be the next head coach at Green Bay.
What?
Doug Gottlieb going to be a college basketball coach, it looks like. Good for him. He's wanted to do this for a long time.
I know, right? His name's always getting brought up with this kind of stuff.
He's tried. He's wanted the Oklahoma State job.
Yeah.
And I think he had conversations, but they just weren't going to go that direction. But it's another, like, Oklahoma State decided not to do what Michigan did, what Memphis did, hire an alum with no actual college coaching experience to coach your basketball team. Memphis said, yeah, let's do it. Michigan said, yeah, let's do it. Oklahoma State, at least once, maybe twice, has said, no, we don't think we're going to go that direction. But Green Bay, that's a mid-major job. It's not a bad mid-major job. And so, like, Rothstein's the best, and if he's reporting that he's a serious candidate there, that suggests to me that Gottlieb is probably going to be the next head coach at Green Bay. So, I know it's what he's wanted to do. So congratulations to him if it goes that direction. And I guess Fox Sports will have to be finding a new radio host or something, huh?
Yeah. Sounds like it.
Yeah, so a big national job might be open.
You gonna put your name in?
Nope. Nope. I'm comfortable right where I'm at.
You've done those national radio gigs.
I have. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't. I would guest host CBS Sports Radio all the time.
Because you can't talk about what you want to talk about.
Oh,
you have to talk about what the topics are of the day.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't just come on and be like, so my 10-year-old and 7-year-old were
right.
Nobody. I mean, I guess you can after if it's your show and you own it.
Sure. Like if you're Jim Rome, you could probably get away with doing that every.
But if it's not your show,
yeah.
The worst was like it was a dream on some level. Really not a dream because it was never my dream. I never dreamed of hosting the Jim Rome show.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And I did do it.
Yep.
And it was not fun. You know why? They want you to be Jim Rome.
Mm-hmm.
The people listening, they're on Twitter and they're talking to you, and they get mad if you ignore them.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to do a show. Like I can't focus on that.
Right.
And they get mad. I saw this very early on. Like they want you to be like talking to the clones and all the lingo.
The clones.
Yeah, and I say this respectfully. Jim Rome is a bigger deal than I'd ever hoped to be. All right, but I don't consume what he does. Never really have. So I can't go in there and act like I'm doing the Jim Rome show as Jim Rome, which is I think kind of what they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And I made it very clear to the producers early. I was like, listen, I mean, I can fake it if you want me to, or I can just like try to do a straight sports show. And the Jim Rome fans, like, they don't want that.
They don't want that.
Right. And then you would do like the other, like just sort of random Sunday afternoon CBS Sports radio shows. And you just feel like you're talking to nobody but truck drivers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who is actually listening to me right now? And I would be in a studio in Memphis with a producer in New York. I'm just by myself.
Yeah.
And you felt very alone. Nobody to talk to.
Yeah.
And so it's just I didn't find it to be an enjoyable experience. Like the big shows, like McAfee, that matters every day.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a massive show. Dan Patrick, a massive show. But if you're just doing these little one-offs like national radio shows, most of them aren't even carried in big markets anyway. You know,
right.
Like not at dry. Like if you're doing, I've had opportunities to do these types of shows before, and it was just like, I'd rather do what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather do what I'm doing than go do that.
Yeah.
Like if you want to give me the biggest national show, then of course that'd be something you got to look at. But just a national show, say you have a national show, not that great.
I get it.
So I'll let somebody else have that Fox Sports job. Not that I could get it anyway. Plus, I think.
Don't sell yourself short.
I think I'm contractually tied up.
I think you are too.
I think I'm contractually forbidden. So everybody else can fight over it. I'm happy.
Shout out to the clones.
I'm happy right here with you, and shout out to the clones, of course. Shouts to the clones. Let's do GP's carryout.
It's time for GP's Carryout. One final segment filled with stuff to take with you. It's not everything you need to know, but it's most of it. What did we learn today?
A whole bunch of stuff, but in the opening segment, we mostly focused on the NBA playoffs, where the two Western Conference series are now tied 2-2, and the Eastern Conference series just seem a little less interesting. Although Knicks-Pacers should be amazing, but it just feels like because of the injuries on the Knicks side and the lack of ability on the Pacers side, that whoever advances out of that is going to be an incredible underdog to a Boston Celtics team that now just needs to win one more game to advance to the Eastern Conference Finals. And they're dealing with a Cleveland franchise that's missing Donovan Mitchell, Jared Allen, two of the top three scorers from the regular season. So the West still very much up for grabs and interesting. The East, not so much. Not so much.
What's today's biggest game?
Ben, I'm taking you to the WNBA.
All right.
It's the Indiana Fever and the Connecticut Sun.
Okay.
6:30 on ESPN2. Caitlin Clark's WNBA regular season debut. Building is sold out. And Connecticut is a 7.5-point favorite. The total is 166.5. Do you think there's any strategy to this? Having Caitlin Clark make her season debut in Connecticut given how big women's basketball is in Connecticut because of the UConn women and Gino? Or is this just coincidence?
I think coincidence because there's what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 12 teams.
I bet you it's intentional.
You think so?
Yeah, and you're smart to start her on the road because you get 2 big pops, right? You get Caitlin Clark's first ever game in the WNBA. That's one thing, and then it's the next one we'll get ready for. Caitlin Clark's first game in Indianapolis. Ooh, another big event.
Yeah.
I think they know what they're doing, and they're doing it on purpose.
All right, I think you're right. By the way, am I losing my mind? I thought San Antonio had a WNBA team.
Yeah, I can't speak to that. Did I look like a WNBA expert?
I could have sworn that I saw a San Antonio WNBA team at some point in my lifetime.
San Antonio have a WNBA team? It's the former Twitter of the WNBA San Antonio Stars relocating to Las Vegas under the.
They're the Aces. Yeah. Okay, got it.
The San Antonio Stars are now the Las Vegas Aces.
Okay, shows you how much I know about the league, but I'm learning.
We're learning. We're trying.
Yeah.
We're trying. We're doing our best.
Okay, so I did do a little research.
Okay.
Connecticut swept them last season in the regular season. Indiana didn't make the playoffs. They were the worst team in the league.
That's how they got the number 1 pick. That's how they ended up with Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, and so Connecticut swept them last season. Some of the games were a little bit closer than others, and Connecticut did go to the second round of the playoffs last year, where I believe they were swept by the New York Liberty.
Oh wow, look at you!
That's Sabrina, right? Sabrina's with New York.
I think so.
Yeah, Sabrina, and Stewie.
Sure.
Yeah, they're both with the New York Liberty. Okay.
Yeah.
See, I know the league, buddy.
I'm gonna let you take this over.
Okay, so like I said, those wins that Connecticut had over Indiana last year. Some of them were closer than others, and then you throw in Caitlin Clark. And so I think that the addition of Caitlin Clark and her, what are we thinking, 25 points a game?
I don't know.
I think that shortens the margin, and I think our Indiana Fever will cover the 7.5 against the Connecticut Sun tonight.
Bennett said that number's too big.
I think that's a big number.
You can't give Caitlin Clark 7.5.
Again, not super familiar with these WNBA lines, but just on the surface, I look at it and I say, seems like a big number when you're injecting like one of the biggest stars to come into this league in a long time. That's all I'm saying.
They could be begging casuals like us, though, to just jump on this Caitlin Clark stuff.
They're begging. I know. This seems like a bad move, doesn't it?
Yeah, it might be, but our heart's in the right place.
And I want something to I need something to root for here.
I want to root for something.
Yeah.
I want to feel something.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Indiana Fever.
That's right.
Tonight.
That's right.
Go Fever. Go Fever, go.
Go Fever, go.
Go Fever,
go.
Go Fever, go. All right, let's go. I'm excited.
I'm excited too.
All right.
Yeah.
What are we watching on TV?
Guess who's got a new movie on Netflix? You ain't gonna believe this.
Jerry Seinfeld?
Sydney Sweeney. They just put Madam Web on.
Oh, that's right.
On Netflix.
That's
it just dropped
right.
on Netflix. Have you seen Madam Web yet?
I have not seen Madam Web. I've heard that it's horrible. Now, I will watch it because I watch all of these horrible superhero movies. Like, even the bad, I watch all of them.
It got too much for me. I couldn't keep up.
Yeah. So I was talking with CJ about this before the show. Basically, Sony tried to do these Spider-Man villain spin-off movies that actually have nothing to do with Spider-Man. Like, there's no real connection to Spider-Man, to my knowledge, in any of these movies. They did Morbius with Jared Leto. They did this one, Madam Web. There was a post-credit scene with Venom in a Spider-Man movie, or maybe it was in Venom. So maybe there's a little connection there. And then they're doing this Kraven the Hunter movie that there's no connection there either. Apparently, they're not going to tie it into a Spider-Man movie. So I don't know why they keep making these movies.
I don't know either.
I don't know why they keep making these movies, and apparently this one was really, really bad, but I will watch it.
11% approval on Rotten Tomatoes. Yuck.
You got to be notoriously bad to get 11%. But even the bad stuff gets like 35 to 40%.
But this is funny. So I go to Netflix homepage, and it's the first thing you see.
Yeah.
And Dakota Johnson's the star of the film, I gather.
Right.
But guess
she's
who the,
Madam Web, I think.
But guess who the big picture of it on the
Sydney Sweeney, of course. Netflix knows what they're doing.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah,
you got all these perverts just going to click on the movie now because they see Sydney Sweeney.
Yep. Oh, it's going to do numbers on Netflix.
It'll do numbers on Netflix.
I'm going to watch it. I'm going to hate watch it for sure.
I'm not going to. I can't watch it. I'm going to try to continue my streak of never watching movies that Sydney Sweeney's in.
I'll watch
I see all her Instagram posts, but I never see a movie.
My wife watched the other one that's on Netflix now, the romantic comedy. What's it called? Anyone But You.
I haven't watched that yet.
She said it was all right.
Yeah.
She said it was all right.
There was another one came out a few years ago where she lived in an apartment, and they were peeking in her apartment. She was peeking in other people's apartments.
Oh, yeah. There wasn't that like a Apple TV or something. Amazon Prime or something like that? Yeah. I don't think that thing saw theaters.
Nah, I don't think so
That
either.
thing didn't touch theaters.
But it had Sydney Sweeney in it, so people saw at least parts of it.
Yeah.
There were parts of it people were seeking out, I gather.
What parts?
It's the parts from people peeking in windows.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It is wild. You got to be careful in New York City with your curtains open and blind, because there are just like people, like there's a whole office building right there.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to take a shower in New York City,
you better have your windows closed.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
My wife leaves the windows open, and it drives me. We bought one of the cool things about our new house was they had those like the shutters that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and she leaves them open all the damn time, and I'm like, what if somebody like looks in our house and I'm walking around naked, like out of the shower?
Do you walk around your house naked?
No, not all the time, but sometimes like you just like you hop out of the shower and you're like, oh shoot, my phone's over there. So you know what I mean?
No,
like,
I don't. All
right.
So there's a chance I could come to your house and you just be walking around the living room naked. Would you walk around the living room naked?
Yeah.
How about that, Bennett?
It's my house.
It is your house.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to prevent you from doing it. It's just I don't do that.
So I like them closed. So if I lived in New York, I'd have the windows closed at all times.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about people looking in my windows at my own home.
Mm-hmm.
But in New York, you have to be aware of that.
Yeah.
And I always wonder, are there people who have cameras set up just at all times, focused on this hotel room, just waiting for you to slip up?
You probably got some pervs in those high rises.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. I've seen some wild stuff. I peek out windows sometimes myself. There was a woman one time, I was certain she was putting on an exhibition for me. It's not as crazy as it sounds. I just mean like she was very noticeably getting dressed with the windows wide open, and it was like I could see.
She didn't care.
It was nighttime, and I could see everything. She wasn't that far from me, and she didn't seem to care at all. It almost felt like she was doing it on purpose.
Interesting.
It was interesting. What do you think makes somebody want to be an exhibitionist like that?
I can't pretend to know.
I can't pretend to know either.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, Sydney Sweeney's got a new movie on Rotten Tomatoes.
It's not really her movie. She's like the third biggest star in the movie, I think.
She's the biggest star now.
Well, she's the biggest star in the movie, but like it wasn't initially filmed that way.
That's fair. That's a fair point you're making. The movie stinks apparently, but it does have Sydney
11%.
Sweeney. 11% is tough.
How am I going to get through that?
Okay, people enjoy Sydney Sweeney, but people don't enjoy bad movies. So what do? I'm gonna leave it up to you. You can watch it if you want to.
I'll report back.
Report back.
Yep.
Just report back.
What's the best thing we've read?
You know what? I mentioned it. I never mentioned it last week, I don't think, when it actually published, but I did mention it today when we were talking about John Calipari going back to Rupp Arena. Dennis Dodd sat down with him and had a long conversation that turned into a long profile. If you haven't read that yet, just Google it. Dennis Dodd, John Calipari. You can find it at cbssports.com.
What's on tap for tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow's Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Wallace.
Yeah, I believe he's in Chicago right now. I know he's in Chicago right now. I think he's still going to be there for the draft combine, so we'll get the latest on what's going on there.
We'll find out everything going on at the draft combine, where Bronny James jumped it pretty good yesterday. Had a top 5 vertical at the combine. You know who else did? Reed Shepherd, 42-inch vertical. Reed Shepherd, he can jump.
He ain't gonna be there at 9.
No, I doubt it too.
I think his star is rising.
Oh, if you told me the
Don't
Grizzlies,
you think?
I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
It's hard to separate fact and fiction. I mean, I could
Sure.
talk to 3 people today about Reed Shepherd and maybe get 3 different opinions on him. He did measure only 6'1", I think, without shoes.
Wow.
So he's a little smaller, but he's a better athlete than people realize. So talk to Mike Wallace about all things happening at the Combine. He'll be with us tomorrow in the second segment. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to enjoy mine. We'll meet back here tomorrow at 10. Till then, be careful, be kind, be good. Rep your hood.